welcome back. I'm going to talk about Tetsuo 1 and 2 by Tsukamoto. This is following on from my video about Kotoko and fires in the plane. So I'm going through a Tsukamoto period now. I've actually ordered Tetsuo 3, the final one, which is coming from like Germany, I think, or something, or Italy or something, so it'll be a while before I get it. So I'm just doing these videos, the first two, and I'll do a video on the third one when it comes, and I'll say my thoughts on that then. I adore these films. Tsukamoto is now becoming one of my favourite directors. After the Shinya Tsukamoto series, Tsukamoto has become the new guy whose films I'm buying, because I've also bought the Killing box set thing, I've bought Tokyo Fest, I've got Bullet Boy to watch. So I'm going through his films now. Him and the Kurosawa for Pulse and Cure is another one I'm really into as well. So I'm going through quite a lot of films by Tsukamoto just now. So Tetsuo 1 and 2 were the two big hits, really. They're both very short films, but they're big hits, they're big cultural hits. They came out during the cyberpunk craze of the late 80s, where you had like Akira coming from Japan, then Ghost in the Shell later, but in between that you got Tetsuo. I'm not sure when Tetsuo came out compared to Akira, but it feels like I was hearing them both at the same time, really. I'm not sure which one arrived and which one arrived in Britain first, but it feels very kind of together. Then Tetsuo 2, the Body Hammer, came out like in '92, so it was kind of the follow-up. And then you never really heard much about Tsukamoto as a mainstream director. He was making his own films. He made Snake of June, and he made Tokyo Fest and Bullet Ballet, and they were well received films, but they didn't have the same cultural importance as the Tetsuo films. Tetsuo films just came out, and it felt very kind of David Lynch influenced, the very cyberpunk, William Gibson influenced, but they were their own thing as well. And they were part of a wave. And then Tsukamoto went on and had the rest of his career. And eventually went back to Tetsuo much later. But I'm only going to count the two films released by Third Windows, which is Tetsuo, Iron Man and Tetsuo 2, The Body Hammer. These are kind of like the what has happened with The Evil Dead, where the director basically remade his first film, the second one, but kind of a sequel, but kind of not. You have the same leading man, you have the same antagonist, but it's like taking the same setup and then doing something different with it. So it is a different style with different narrative needs and different emotional needs to film. So it doesn't feel like you're watching the same film at all. And I don't have a favourite, really. There's things I really like about the first one, there's things I really like about the second one. I think the second one's a bit overlong compared to the first one, but I don't really mind that. It's like I still adored the film. Compared to most films, it's still pretty short. I just think it kind of got to the point. I think it kind of lost it a few minutes. It's not like it was a major like we need to lose a lot here. It's just like a few minutes, maybe tighten up slightly more. But I don't care about that. It's not a big deal for me. Tetsuo, the first one, Tetsuo the Iron Man, is a very David Lynch influenced film. I mean, you can see the influence there, like the whole idea of this kind of rotten landscape and black and white and all these pipes and things. Very David Lynch influenced, but that's okay because it was also influenced by other stuff. It was influenced by cyberpunk. So what the pipes were doing were very different. The pipes were getting good into flesh, very much like a Cronenberg film, and then mutating in a way that Cronenberg mutated slightly and did the character stuff. But Cronenberg never actually went really fantastic on a lot of stuff. The way this one does. This is much more explosive craziness. But Cronenberg probably would never go that way. But Tetsuo does. Tetsuo is kind of like, it's a salaryman. Both films have an idea of a salaryman who gets infected by technology and who starts to mutate and starts to have weird fantasies, and his brain chemistry seems to be changing, and he's trying to work out what's going on in his body, and he's also getting watched by this other figure who seems to be the same path but is a bit more advanced in that path, and has been there for a bit longer, and who's trying to manipulate him to do what he wants. And so it's innocent being basically seduced into this other realm of existence. In the first one, you see the director plays the antagonist in it. In the first one, you see him try to put something in his leg, this bit of metal in his leg, and it starts to mutate in great weirdness. He runs away, he gets hit by a car by the lead character, who gets infected. Well, that's what I think happened. It's all very vague. And then the lead character starts to slowly mutate and starts to see things in other people. Like, he's with this woman at the subway, he's starting to feel paranoid in the subway about his body. He's beside a woman who suddenly starts to mutate and starts chasing him. Very much like the beginning of Night of the Living Dead, where the zombie chases the lead woman. This time it's a woman chasing a guy. Then he goes home to his girlfriend, and they have very rough sex, and he's starting to mutate. He's starting to jump between this fantasy life and the reality, and what is the reality, and body parts are mutating and been sitting into him, and it's just very weird. It's very expressionistic. It's more about how he feels about himself changing than a narrative drive. It's all about the feelings involved. That's what the Tetsuo Iron Man really is. It's all about trying to express his feelings for interior. Like, it's how the first guy on it, the Tsukamoto character, you start off by almost seeing the world through his eyes, which is a bit black and white, and everything's corrupted and rotten, and he's trying to evolve into something else. Then he faces the leading man, and his leading man's experiences of that as he can't tell reality from fiction. He can't tell what's really going on in his life. Very much like Hitoko is that same feeling. This one's to do with technology and his body changing, but his body's not changing in a naturalistic way. It's changing with parts hooking onto it and mutating and creating these weird, creepy things that don't quite make sense in reality, but make sense in dream logic. So it's all going by dream logic. And it's a kind of nightmare of what you think the world's going to become. It's kind of an expression of that kind of feeling throughout this whole film, and that's what's wonderful about Tetsuo, the Iron Man. It's this feeling of rottenness, this feeling of discomfort, and you don't trust anybody. Anybody you know might mutate into something's a monster. A loved one might mutate into your biggest enemy, because his girlfriend does mutate into the villain or the antagonist at some point, and it ends up pretty dark, and it's wonderful, but it's really hard to explain plot wise. It's a film you just have to go and watch and experience. Something unique and weird, and it's just hard to explain. No, it's just the black and white photography is beautiful. The impression of the world is very Japanese but very Western influence. It's almost like the West is kind of like the corruption of the West. It's influencing Japan. It's like, was that a metaphor for how Japan's been influenced by the rest of the world? Now it's let the world in. All this technology's come in, and this is the end result is this feeling of corruption, and your body's not quite your own, your identity's not quite your own. And how do you mutate out of that into something else that's useful? Using the tools you've been given from other societies. So, even all that going on in the film, Tetsuo the Body Hammer is a much more mainstream film comparatively to the Iron Man, but still quite a weird film. You've got the same lead character, but this time he's got a family. The film's in colour, and the antagonist has henchmen who are all like bodybuilders who are now come to the antagonist to actually get injections out of metal and flesh to try and become even greater than what they were before. They are really focused on becoming the best they can possibly be. So they're trying to become something new. They're trying to become better than they are. Kind of the bodybuilders are trying to show off their bodies as something new, something for the future, the way that was happening in the 80s. This is kind of a satire of it, where they're these almost slaves to this cult leader who's going to help them build their bodies to become something greater. So it's less about the inside feelings of what you are in the first one, and it's much more about what you want to project. So the lead character's got a family. He's trying to project a simple image of who he is. He's a family man, he's a slave wage, he works for a living. And then one time when he's out, he gets injected with something apparently, and they try and kidnap his child, and he and his wife have to chase after them to get the child back. At this point he starts to feel weird and feel like he's starting to mutate, and he's starting to get weird dreams. So the second time they bring it, so that a second time they kidnap his child, and this time they kill the child, which really traumatises him. And at this point he's going to go for revenge against these people who killed his child. And so he starts mutating a lot more and becoming more of a creature. And at that point you find out that the thing they injected him with hit a bit of metal, so it didn't actually infect him. All this stuff's already been inside him, it just has to come out. Then you find out he's a brother of the guy who's the antagonist, and his memories have lost most of his memories because he saw his father kill his mother. And then he killed his father, and he's very traumatized by that. And his brother is now trying to break through to him, but also the antagonistic attitude because this guy killed his son, and it's becomes this expression of rage. And what do you do with your rage, and how do you survive it, and how do you find meaning within this sort of finding out a bit more about yourself and more about the world around you. When all that's kind of crushed, and all the kind of ideals you had originally had are crushed, you start to see the real you below the surface, the real nasty side of you. It's like, where do you go with that? And that's kind of what the second one's about. So you originally have the false image of the body of that's the way to go to get better. And that, by the time people went to slaves, they become slaves of the antagonist. The salary man who's doing his own version of that, being a salary man, that gets crushed out of him by the death of his son, and it becomes a case of, okay, what do you do with that rage? What's available? How do you... And he basically mutated into this body hammer, this creature of might over, over intelligence. And it's like, where do you go with this rage? And that's what Tetsuo 2 is. And it's wonderful. It's just two different expressions of the same kind of body mutation and angst about the world, and angst about where your place in the world is. And it's like, it's taking a cyberpunk aesthetic and the idea of people in Japan were interested in all this body mutation, and what do you do with this? What do you do with these feelings? So it's very similar to what David Lynch does, where it's like you find expression of those feelings through different iconography and different modes of expression that might not be mainstream, and try to find meaning within that. So these are two films that find meaning within a very simple structure of two men fighting each other and mutating. So what wonderful films. I'm not sure much more I can get into them. It's just a case of I'm trying to get you to go see them and try and find your own meaning within them, because there's a lot there, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this rambling weird video, because this is probably not one of my most coherent ones, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I'll be back soon with another one.